I don't like punching left all that much. I like punching to the right, because that's honestly easier and a lot more fun. Because you have to have like substantive criticisms of people on the left because usually their points are more salient overall. But like this guy, Mike Braun. Whoo-hoo! Oh, how many of you guys have seen this? Now, I want to read in context what he said, okay? Because there is a little bit of ambiguity to what he's trying to get across, but it's really bad still. And he put out an apology where he said he misunderstood something, right? And it's really not good either. So, Senator Mike Braun, a Republican from Indiana, on Tuesday expressed that and then walked back opposition to the Supreme Court ruling that legalized interracial marriage. That's right. This Republican said the Supreme Court should not have legalized interracial marriage. Yikes. Braun was on a conference call with reporters from Indiana discussing the court rulings he viewed as federal overreach, which, if the federal government does anything that isn't the military, that is overreach to Republicans. Don't forget it. I forgot, Republican lawmakers also have to get their $280,000 a year, or whatever it is they make now. So they get their big amounts of money, and then, of course, anything that's not the military means they might get taxed on it, meaning they don't get their money. So he was on a conference call with reporters from Indiana discussing the court ruling as federal overreach. According to the Times of Northwest Indiana, the news outlet shared a clip of his remarks in which he was asked whether he would consider it to be judicial activism or legislating from the bench if the Supreme Court strikes down the right to an abortion. Now, this is important. Look at the way this is phrased. Do you think that it would be a form of activism by the Supreme Court if they struck down this abortion law? Do you think they are doing an activism, or do you think they're doing something right? Okay. The court is set to rule Mississippi's 15-week abortion ban later this year, with many expecting the 6-3 conservative to overturn the 1973 Roe v. Wade decision that enshrined abortion rights, which, I'm sorry to women everywhere, but it looks like this is going to happen. And we got to do something about it, but there's not a whole lot we can do, I guess, outside of like just violence, just like lots of violence, which, so this is bad, right? And what happens here is we're going to get to watch a weasel contort his body into the silliest shapes, trying to find a way to rationalize why he thinks it's okay for the judge to strike down abortion laws, but not to strike down interracial marriage laws, right? I consider it to have been judicial activism when it occurred back almost 50 years ago, Braun answered, referring to Roe versus Wade. So I think this would be bringing it back to a neutral point to where that issue should have never been federalized, way out of sync, I think, with the contour of America back then. And this basically puts it back to a point where, like most of these issues, where one side of the aisle wants to homogenize it federally, is not the right way to do it. Which, don't you love listening to like the way senators talk whenever you have to quote them directly? Like, none of them can finish a sentence in a way that actually seems to finish itself. They all just kind of trail off because they're taught to speak in this almost like law school style way where everything's so like pristine and beautiful. So they just lose the point. They just lose the point. Braun indicated that he believes the question of abortion should have been left to each state to decide individually. Stupid fucking idea. This should have been something where the expression of the individual states are able to weigh in on the issues through their own legislation, through their own court systems, quit trying to put the federal government in charge of not only like things like we did navigating through COVID recently. Sorry, when I hear people bitch about government overreach, all I hear is it's ridiculous. 9 times out of 10, they're just pissed off because they have to pay a tax. But they're trying to homogenize things through the federal government like they did through COVID recently, where I think that was misguided, but in general, so no. I think this takes it back to a point where it should have never gotten beyond in the first place. You gotta work on the way you say that. Ugh. Braun was pressed on whether he believed the same arguments to allow the states to decide for themselves should also apply to the Supreme Court case Loving v. Virginia, which allowed for interracial marriage nationwide. Ooh. Oh. Do you think that it was it was judicial activism when black people were finally allowed to have sex with white people? That's honestly, he should have just said no comment and left, because what comes next is fucking hilarious. The Indiana senator said that, well, when it comes to issues, you can't have it both ways. Huh, all right. Let's hear him elaborate. When you want that diversity to shine within our federal system, there are going to be rules and proceedings. They're going to be out of sync with maybe what other states would do. It's a beauty of the system. And that's where the differences among points of view in our 50 states ought to express themselves. So what he's saying is, I mean, sure, you know, maybe like half of the states would say that you're not allowed to have sex with people of a different race than you or whatever, but, you know, what can you do? Government overreach. Yeah, that's the argument. And I'm not saying that rule would apply in general depending on the topic, but it should mostly be in general, because it's hard to have it on issues that you are just interested in when you deny it for others with a different point of view. Again, do you notice how he's not saying anything? What he wants to do is make it sound like he's addressing these things, but he's unable to actually do it, because these are one-to-one. The Supreme Court striking down an abortion law and the Supreme Court upholding a law to allow interracial marriage are literally the same if your argument is leave it up to the states. They're the same, right? So they then again ask the question of interracial marriage and if it should have been left to the states. Yes. So unambiguously, yes. I think that that's something that if you're not wanting the Supreme Court to weigh in on issues like that, you're not going to be able to have your cake and eat it too. I think that's hypocritical. This man holds office. He later added that it was better for states to manifest their points of view rather than for decisions to homogenize the country. Now, listen here, okay? Because you states' rights people have always been racists. You just didn't realize it. This is the line. This is where you cross over. You can't just say, actually, I think it should be left up to the states to decide whether or not people should be able to have a marriage to each other if they are of a different race. That is outlandish. That is so obtusely absurd. I couldn't imagine it coming out of a human's mouth. But here it is. And I guarantee you, all sorts of people are defending this. And again, like I said, he issues another statement. But how do you go through? Again, it is an emphatic yes. That's how he starts. Yes. And then he doesn't say but anywhere in here. Anywhere in here. All he says is that he wants states to manifest their points of view rather than for the country to have a unified vision. Like, what? I'm kind of curious. Is there like, here, I'm going to pull this over to the side so you guys can't see this. I don't want you guys to see me searching this, because you'll see how easy it is to do your own research and then you won't need me. So, what percentage of Americans support interracial marriage? %87%. Ooh. Ooh. That's not good. All right, let's go that, but by state. I'm curious. By racial group. All right, I'm not finding it by state. Okay, all right. Ooh, though. So, now that we're here, now that we've forced interracial marriage upon everyone, and everyone has to marry someone of a different race, because I'm assuming that's what it means. Otherwise, there's no reason for someone to claim that there's government overreach. But now that this has happened, now that we've had it for as long as we have, it has gone dramatically up. 4% of Americans, when it happened, 4% were in favor of people being allowed to have an interracial marriage. Now, if we get rid of the law and we let each state go up with it, I wonder how long it'll take for somebody to be like, you know what? I'm tired of looking at people that are half. I want there to just be white people and black people. And everybody that's not white can go somewhere else. Guarantee it won't take long. Guarantee you it won't take long. But, again, we'll let it go. We'll let it go. Let's hear his beautiful apology for this, right? Okay. In a statement to The Hill later Tuesday, Braun said that he misunderstood the question as posed. Earlier, during a virtual press conference, I misunderstood a line of questioning that ended up being about interracial marriage. Let me be clear on that issue. Don't forget that he just said, let me be clear. There is no question the Constitution prohibits discrimination of any kind based on race. That is not something that is even up for debate. I condemn racism in any form at all levels and by any states, entities, or individuals. Do I think the states should have the right to say whether or not people can be married to people of other races? What was his very clear answer? The Constitution says you're not allowed to discriminate. I don't know, you take it how you want. Let me be clear. Like, the most politician way of doing anything on the planet, being horrified of putting his own opinion out there, unless maybe he is just racist and he realizes that he's losing polling points right now. Maybe, right? Part of me thinks he won't, but that's just me. But yeah, this is disgusting. Like, this is horrible. I don't understand how it is in 2022 we have people saying that we should stop allowing interracial marriage across the country and we should leave it up to the states.